Hello friends and fellow gamers, MKxJUMP here, and this week we have a Soul Awakening session and Imp's Adventure for Idle Heroes. Now what's weird about this week is it is a fantastic event for free-to-play players. However, if you're a spender, the value is pretty weird. I'll explain why that's the case a little bit later on, but just know that this week there's potentially a lot of great rewards if you're a free-to-play player who's managed to save their Contract Stary Gems. However, before we break down this week's event, let me tell you about today's sponsor. Angel Legion is a sci-fi idle RPG similar to Idle Heroes but set in space. You put together a team of angels combining their abilities into epic combos to explore the galaxy, defeat powerful foes, and when all that fighting is over, you can hang out with your heroes in the cabin to relax and unwind. The heroes in this game are fully customizable and you can dress and change the way they look to your heart's content, and there's lots of different heroes in the game for you to experiment with to find which team you like the most for making progress. Exclusively for this week, users on the Google servers can get themselves access to 10 free summons and a unique fashion item. All you need to do is go to your player menu and select the gift exchange button in the bottom right. Then from there, enter the code XWJO9427 to get yourself those free summons and a unique fashion item. Then head to your heroes, unlock that fashion item, and equip it to whichever hero you want. As well for this week, it is the anniversary event in Angel Legion, so there are tons of amazing rewards that new players can get their hands on, so there is no better time to start the game. So what are you waiting for, guys? Go check out Angel Legion, it's fully free to download, and who knows, it might just become your new favorite mobile game to play alongside Idle Heroes. With all that said, let's go ahead and jump in to check out this week's event for Idle Heroes. So, every single day for logging in this week, you are going to get yourself 4 ordinary dice, which can help you with this week's event, and you'll get 100 fluorescent spores, and they're very important for helping you make progress this week. Now, we have our Soul Awakening session here, which is rewarding people for using their awakens and getting rewards for heroes. So let's quickly look at the Soul Awakening offer, and you can see how this works. You get points for each awakening tier you manage to achieve, and these points will accumulate to rewards. 20, 40, and 70 will each get you a chest with heroes in, and if you get to 100, you will get yourself a mysterious artifact selection chest. 150 is probably best used to get yourself an essence sublimation chest too, and then if you can get to 300, you can either go with a melon chest or a core of origin chest. Now, 300 points is probably the best place to go if you're a free-to-play player, and will cost you around 3,500 Contract Stary Gems, assuming you retire the heroes you get to get more Contract Staries. 600 will get you Destiny materials, but in my opinion, that's a bit too much of a push for free-to-play players, as I would rather do 2 sessions and get them each to 300 than do 1 and get it to 600, as that will net you more rewards in the long term. Also, if you just get to 200 points, you'll get yourself a B- stone, as everybody who gets to 200 points will get that achievement. So that's really helpful to help you do future sessions, as that B- stone is a guaranteed B- hero and has increased chances of getting higher tiers as well. However, if you were pushing to 200, I think it's best to go all the way to 300, because missing out on a core of origin chest or a sublimation chest just feels bad. So I would try and push and get all the 50 awakens needed to get to 300 points. It may need a few more awakens, but typically 50 is the number you're looking for. To help you with your Contract Stary Gems, there is a soul contract this week where you can give 6-star versions of heroes from each of the factions, and you will get yourself 100 Contract Stary Gems for doing that. So that's 400 Contract Stary Gems available, which is going to be super helpful with your awakening. Heading back to the top, you can see our value packages for this week are giving us gems and dice. No treasure train tickets in here, so personally I don't think it's worth using your Contract Stary Gems or money to pick these up. We have a slightly better package here called the Flora's Picnic. This is giving you 2,500 Prism Stary Gems, which is already 100 bucks worth, but on top of that, you're getting 15 treasure coupons, 15 cores of transcendence, and this chest here that contains Contract Stary Gems. Now, there is a random element to this chest which I don't like, but everything else here seems pretty good, and if you were planning on spending anyway and you wanted to rack up your VIP points, this is not a terrible pack to go for. Imp's Adventure is here, of course, this week, and this is where you will roll your ordinary dice, and the imp will land on tiles, leveling them up. As you pass over these mushroom huts, you will gain a number of stars equal to the number in the bottom right, and that number will increase with the level of the hut up to 5, which will be given at level 3. As you accumulate these stars, you will get points, and they will get you fluorescent spores and the various rewards that you can see here. What's interesting then about this week's event is we have a Starlight Melody, which is giving us points for using ordinary dice and also for consuming this week's event item. This event item can be consumed in the Jungle of Fantasy, and depending on how many you get, you will get different rewards. The way you get these is by claiming them from campaigns, so make sure you bring those rewards onto your account, and you should get hundreds of them across the week just for logging in. The average player can expect to get about 24 to 2500 of these for free, plus whatever you gain from Imp's Adventure, and I would encourage you to use your Universal Crystals to try and push up to getting Starspawn Core 5s, as these can be helpful for upgrading your Starspawns. I think it's slightly too expensive to be pushing towards an artifact selection chest unless you already had quite a lot of the currency, because maybe you went really deep in Imp's Adventure and got a lot of extra fluorescent spores. With anything left over, it's typically best then going for scrolls or profit orbs and then using whatever spare change you have for spirit or gold, as these are important resources to level up your heroes. Moving down, we have Shelter Mission, and this is offering Saja, Azrael, Seerhu, and Arania, and you will need 4 stars from their corresponding factions in the class of that hero. So you need 4 assassins for Saja, you're going to need 4 assassins for Azrael, you'll need 4 warriors for Seerhu, and you'll need to have yourself 4 4-star priests for Arania. As well, each hero will require a 5-star from their faction, but for going ahead and cashing all that in, you will get a copy of the hero, 4-star armor, and more importantly, 5 ordinary dice. This is really, really helpful, and I strongly encourage you guys to do this, because those dice will help you not only in Imp's Adventure, but you will get more points in the Starlight Melody for consuming them. It's probably worth we focus on the Starlight Melody for a moment now, and each of these chests will add up depending on how many points you have. For every 100 points you get, you will get this chest here that contains Stellar Shards, Master's Toolboxes, Spiritual Essence, and a Transcendence Copy chest. For every 200 points, you'll get a similar thing, but this time it's a different Transcendence chest, and the same thing again for 300 with a different selection of Transcendence heroes. The typical free-to-play player will probably expect to get around 75 to 80 ordinary dice this week, and also by consuming the event currency, let's say you do 2500 there. That means you can expect 250 points from consuming event currency, you can expect another 75 coming from ordinary dice, that already takes us to 325. Now if you're planning on awakening heroes in the Soul Temple, you need to do around 50 to get to 300 points. So let's assume you can do that as well, that's going to get you another 250 points. So with all that combined, you should be getting over 600 points this week free to play. That means you'll end up with 6 100 chests, 3 200 chests, and 2 300 chests. That is a lot of Master's Toolboxes and Stellar Shards just for free. And that makes going after this week's Soul Awakening session really, really good, because you're not just getting bonuses for doing the normal 300 and walking away with a sublimation chest, another one here, and an artifact. You get your B- stone as well, because it's a Soul Awakening session, and further to that, because of the Starlight Melody, you are getting tons of Master's Toolboxes and Stellar Shards, making this the best value Soul Awakening session available to free-to-play and budget players. Now, you may see in the corner here that there are multipliers, and that comes from the Moonlight Gift. If you plan on spending, if you spend $100, you will get a ×2 multiplier in that Starlight Melody. If you spend another $100, that ×2 becomes ×4. So double the price, double the rewards. But then for some weird reason, it jumps from 200 to 400, and rather than going from ×4 to ×8, which would make mathematical sense, it goes to ×6. And I don't like this. Right? These two tiers are giving us Stellar Shards. They think for some reason giving us an Origin artifact selection chest somehow makes this worth it. I just strongly disagree. I think the jump to 400 is crazy. Not to mention the fact that the Starlight Melody now has a cap of 1500 points, not what we had last time, which was 1000. Also, this chest here that is giving you a glorious treasure coin actually is the way that you're obtaining the high rewards this week. You can see there's Destiny materials, there's Sublimation and Cores. We've also got ourselves Stellar Shards and Crystals of Transcendence, along with the new currency needed after you've made a hero to Nirvana, which is already extremely out of reach for the majority of Idle Heroes players, so most people will just be looking towards getting Destiny or Sublimation materials. Now, the reason I'm not impressed by this then is last time they did an event identical to this, the chest was 1000 that gave that. And the multipliers were ×3, ×6, and ×9. Meaning, if you spent 200 bucks, you would have a times 6 multiplier, meaning you would get 6 of these chests because they were only 1,000. 6 of those chests for 200 bucks, and you only needed 1,000 points. Well, now you need to get to 1,500 points, and if you work out how difficult that is, it gets crazy. Let's say you do the entire Soul Awakening offers. You do all 600 points. That is still only about 100 awakens. That then means it's only going to get you 500 points. Let's say you manage to get a few more ordinary dice because you spent, and in the Moonlight gift you can see it's giving you an extra 26 here, plus another 10 there, so let's call that another 36. Let's be generous and say that you can push up to 120 dice this week. Well, that's only another 120 points, so that's 620. Then consume the event currency. Well, sure, the Moonlight gift, if you decide to spend some money here, is going to get you a ×2 multiplier here for Imp's Adventure. So that is going to double the amount of fluorescent spores, and you should expect to complete the whole thing. So that's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, another 800 fluorescent spores. Consider the 2,500 you're going to get anyway. That takes you to 3,300. So let's say we push that up, get ourselves a mysterious artifact. That's still 3,600 of this week's currency, which only ends up being another 360 points. So if you take all of that, we barely have 1,000 points. Where the heck are we supposed to get the other 500 points from? And the answer is do more awakens, end up with a lot more of the jungle fantasy currency, or buy dice. And I hate that. I do not want to be spending my Contract Stary Gems on dice. In fact, that's only getting you 90 dice, which, yeah, sure, in Imp's Adventure is going to get you more of this currency, but I would probably just rather use that on awakens. And honestly, I don't want to be pushing my awakens this week just so that I can get high rewards on a Starlight Melody. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, saying this event is actually really bad for spenders because you have to bend over backwards to get to 1,500 points to then make the Moonlight gift modifiers worth it. And the Moonlight gift modifiers make no sense and actually gets you less rewards than last time, because a ×4 multiplier is only going to get you 4 of these 1,500 chests, assuming you max this out, which is already more difficult than last time. And a ×4 multiplier is not as good as the ×6 multiplier, which got us 6 of this chest because it was only 1,000 last time. Therefore, they've increased the points, thinking it's the same, but also made the chest more difficult to obtain and ruined the multipliers. So they've made this event much worse than it was last time. And that might sound greedy, oh, they're not giving as much for their money, but it isn't. It's just stupid. This means that this event is not going to incentivize people to spend their money. It just makes people go, well, it's just unobtainable, and I have to be really stupid and waste money on this event, stretching for stuff that I don't want, so I'm just not going to do it. Which means DH Games are not going to make much money off this week's event, because mid-spenders that are looking to spend about 100 or 200 bucks, not these super stupid crazy whales that are going to max out this Soul Awakening session because they're all stupid. I'm talking about the people, the normal folks who maybe want to spend, let's say, 200, 300 bucks on Idle Heroes, these working people who just do this because it's a hobby for them. Yeah, those people aren't going to go in on this week's event because it makes no sense to. And with all honesty, the only reason it's more expensive is because these glorious treasure coins are now giving you a new resource which is completely unobtainable for any player who doesn't have a Nirvana hero, which is 99.99% of Idle Heroes players. And those that are already with a Nirvana hero have spent so much bloody money on this game that they arguably don't care what's being offered because they just want to spend more to become stronger, and price is of no concern for them. So I think DH Games are actually really missing out on giving us a good event, and if only they'd have just copied what they did last time, which was give us a chest which was 1,000 points and make it attainable to get to 1,000 points, which it completely is this week if you spend remotely intelligently, and it just results in an event that's a huge letdown, because all you need to do is go look at my previous event reviews here on YouTube, and you'll see that they did this event so much better just after Luna came out. So I do not understand how they can take one step forwards with such a good event and then repeat it here this week and make it so much worse, just by trying to tweak and change little things that all in all have only resulted in a negative reward curve where we're not getting as much. All just because a new currency has come out, which for most people is useless. So yeah, I definitely do not think spending is a good decision this week. I don't even like this Flora's Picnic package, really, as there are better things that you can pick up with your money. So personally, I just think this week is a don't spend your money and just enjoy it as a free-to-play player, because all of this negativity is clouded by the fact that this event is insane for free-to-play players. You get a B- stone and all these added bonuses from the Starlight Melody, which give you a boatload of Master's Toolboxes and Stellar Shards. So from a free-to-play player standpoint, this is the best use of 3,500 Contract Stary Gems that you could possibly ever have on your Idle Heroes account. You're getting to 300 points, walking away with tons of sublimation or cores if you need them. You're getting awakens done, which are really fun and a nice dopamine trigger for you. You get an artifact thrown in there too. And as I already said, you're getting those Master's Toolboxes and Stellar Shards, which just makes this event perfect. That's what I'm going to be doing on all my accounts. I have no intention to spend this week, and I just think the free-to-play approach is just so much better than what they're offering here with spending. If I was going to spend, all I would do is get 500 VIP points, get these Prism Stary Gems, all from buying the monthly Carnival card, because I need to refresh this on my account. I think that is the only spending point that I find intelligent here, and that's just because it's giving you 300 Prism Stary Gems for buying a card I was going to buy anyway. So hopefully this review makes sense and makes you feel a lot better about not spending this week for those of you that were like itching for it. The only people that are going to go crazy on this week are the people ridiculously addicted to getting high in the Soul Awakening session. These people who are going to compete for the top 10 positions to try and get themselves an S tier. If you want to get stuck in that dopamine spiral, which has a very high chance of disappointment, then, you know, keep your addiction at bay. I would strongly discourage you from doing it, but I know there's some people out there that are going to do it, and just make sure that money is not going to hurt you if you choose to chase this, because it's going to result in people competing with each other, which is never ever fun, because that sort of competition breeds toxicity, and you will see people who end up getting 11th or 12th on this leaderboard who have spent a lot of money and get nothing more than an A+. Sure, they could high roll an S tier, but I don't like that is their saving grace. Chasing a Soul Awakening session is never a pretty thing. I've had friends that have done it in the past, and they've butchered their account because they run out of 5 stars to awaken. They're awakening right until the very end. They end up with sunken cost fallacy. It's very, very, very silly, and it's an extraordinarily dangerous way of getting yourself sucked into something extraordinarily toxic. So I would strongly discourage you from getting addicted to this, and just approach this as a free-to-play player. And next week, we have Fantasy Factory, Prophet Orbs, and Heroic Miracle, which is offering Betty and Gaggy as rewards. So hopefully there's something next week that we can enjoy and sink our teeth into. That said, we did recently get a really good free-to-play Prophet Orb event, so I'm not expecting much from next week, but who knows, they might throw something cool in there. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and I will be reviewing that event next week as well. If you have any more questions about this week's event, or you want to let me know what you're going to be doing this week in the comments section, please do let me know. Great rewards available for free-to-play players here, so enjoy them. Good luck with your awakens, and if you do manage to get an A tier, let me know in the comments. Either way, I'll see you next time, and don't forget to check out this week's sponsor, Angel Legion. There's some codes and a link to download the game below. Until next time, guys, have an amazing week, and of course, happy idling.